Okay, so I want to do a psychic analysis video of this unfortunate earthquake or earthquakes that happened in Turkey. Okay, so the first thing I noticed is that there was this person who essentially made a very predictive tweet about this earthquake. Okay, they actually made a video on February 2nd, 3 days before the quake, talking about a potential large seismic event happening between February 4th and 6th. Then they made a tweet a day later saying that sooner or later there will be a magnitude 7.5 earthquake in this region. And this is where they said it would be. Okay. And this is where, the earthquake was. So basically, the exact place the earthquake was going to be about a 7.5, and it was a 7.8. Okay. And at this point, over 51 million people have seen this tweet. Okay. So basically, they say they can predict earthquakes using planetary geometry. They essentially work with this research institute for monitoring geometry between celestial bodies related to seismic activity. Okay, so they were saying there was the conjunction or alignment of certain planets. So where it would be likely that an earthquake would occur at this region when they sort of compared that to historical records. Okay, and so that was significant in itself, but I wanted to dive more into this earthquake because the sort of, you know, vibes around it. And I looked at the coordinates of this earthquake, okay? The very first one. And the biggest so far, it was the 37, and it was at 3737. Okay. So I searched that up, and there's this verse in the Quran, okay, at 3737. Okay. And it says, in fact, he came with the truth and he confirmed the messengers. Okay. So basically, it's saying uh, they. I see it as it's reflecting as confirmed messengers means like prophets. Okay. People with these divine messages, um, people of prophecy. Okay. And then you have this very sort of prophetic tweet happening at 37 North, 37 East, and here in the Quran, it says, it's a verse, essentially verse. I think they call it Surah 37, but, and then at 37. And it's interesting, it says it's called the aligners. Didn't see that before, but, right, they use these planetary alignments to make these predictions. But then they say, in fact, he came with the truth and confirmed the messengers. Okay, so I feel like this is almost there's been this shift, right? This paradigm shift in consciousness of sorts, where millions of people are sort of reconsidering planetary alignments in terms of life on Earth and predictions and that type of thing. I don't think he associates himself with astrology, but of course there's some overlap there. And this is like almost saying like what people have almost degraded, teased, talked down about planetary alignments and their influence and astrology and that type of thing and prophetic messages, where then it's saying in fact he came with the truth and he confirmed the messengers. Actually there is something to this, right? I don't even believe they are saying this is like a perfect thing, but there's something to this. Okay. And we even see in the prior thing it says, and said, are we supposed to abandon our gods for a mad poet? Okay. So it's that sort of, how people see these type of people, right? And that's even a lot of the replies. He's kind of sort of um, fighting off all these people who are, calling him crazy, a quack, mad, right? It's, are we supposed to believe a mad poet? Okay. To be honest, they have that sort of, mad, seer vibe, right? Um, if they were like homeless, they would be holding that, the end is near sign type of thing, mad poet vibe. Okay. So that seems very interesting. Okay. That's very a strong synchronicity. It's very this strong vibe there. Okay. Which again, I feel like it's this shift towards this, new earth vibration in a sense. Okay. But then it's also, of course, a synchronicity that it sort of matches these coordinates. Okay. And right, 37, 37. Okay. And it's 37, 37. Okay. And looking at something else, um, there was also some suspicion that there could be these large earthquakes because if you look here, um, around this time, right, I made a video talking about how there's a strong Taurus energy, right? Elizabeth Windsor was a Taurus, and I talked about how there's that brazen seer that sort of reflects this timeline, this pocket astral reality realm we're in, and how they symbolize that as bulls, right? Kind of holding it up. And then we have this, so this north node in Taurus on February 1st, on February 3rd, and then on February 7th. Okay. So I believe there's going to be this correlation between earthquakes and Taurus. And so I believe, I'm not so much sure about these dates, but I feel like another big earthquake can happen somewhere on March 11th or 16th, but more 19th. Okay. But then that could just be connected to these other sort of events we've talked about, right? Because this is by that March 23rd date, okay, where you have this, Uranus Taurus sort of connection.